Hello, hello, hello. Yes, it's the old gid here. Just got to turn my sound down a little bit because I think I'm a little bit too loud. So we'll get rid of that, shall we? That's better. How are you doing? Everybody okay? Notice no hat today. It's blooming hot over here in Spain today. Very, very warm indeed. But never mind all that. Today, very, very serious. I know that I keep on about this, but I think that the Western way of life is under great threat right now. Great threat. And I want to go through a few things. And you don't have to take my word for anything I've got to say. Don't forget, if you're watching this, uh, say you like it, wherever you watch it, you can rewatch it on Rumble or on YouTube or on Best Before TV's website, whichever. You'll be able to watch the video. I prefer to watch for you to watch it on Rumble because I might make a penny out of it or something. You never know. But anyway, let's stop while I'm here. I'm here now on a serious mission today. And the topic today basically is UK law and culture is being eroded for the sake of one religion. Okay. Now I'll define that a little bit better as we go through um, what it is I'm getting at and what you out there you should be worried about. You should be very worried indeed. Um, we're rapidly being manipulated into conforming into a culture that is barbaric, backward, and it's a threat to women and children. Um, that is just basically an understatement. Um, you must understand, it's not just the white Christian that will suffer from this creeping cancer, because that's what it is, a creeping cancer within our societies, our Western societies. And this particular group of people, they want Jews to be eroded. They want Hindus to be eroded. They want gay people eroded. They want Buddhists eroded. They want transgender people eroded. Atheists, Sikhs, they want all who don't conform to their way of thinking eradicated. They are the enemy of Western civilization. You know what I'm talking about, but it's not all. Don't forget, as I told you before, in this particular group, there's very, very, very many people who don't want it. But there's a big majority of people. Uh, one in four Muslims in England, for example, they support Hamas. They are the most horrible terrorist organization you could think of. And they don't believe in, and many of them don't believe in the seventh, whatever it was, when they attacked the Jewish frontier. Now, we could go back. I mean, Enoch Powell, everybody knows his name, um, made a speech many years ago, and he was lambasted, but how accurate was it? Uh, Now, let's see. I'm putting that there because how accurate am I going to be after this video? Now, let's get to the right place. Now, we have a government that seems to not care less about uh, all those people I've just mentioned above. White people, anybody who is a non-Muslim, uh, the indigenous people of the UK, apart from the people who've integrated here as well, which is all above, all the people I mentioned, they all live peacefully in Britain and Europe, as do many Muslim people. Let's get that right. But throughout the whole of the UK, the population of Muslims, it equates to 4% of the entire population of the UK. That's all there is, 4%. Yet this group is the most highly profiled in the media. The government they're always demanding more from the government, and they're opposing everything our laws and culture stand for, which is wrong, don't you think? You go to a country to settle. You're a guest, as I've said in many videos before. You conform to the laws and the ways of that country, and you can keep your religion and do what you want within your four walls and your temples or wherever it is you go, your mosques or whatever. You follow your religion, but you don't impose it on the indigenous population. You don't take over. Now, everything we stand for example, public holidays like Easter and Christmas and Lent and Jewish celebrations, anything that Islam does not celebrate, well, the police already have favour, for example, street preachers. But they want to, but what all the Christian and all the festivals that the Muslims or this strain of Muslims do not agree with, they want to ban them. They want to change it. They want their own laws, and they want you to follow their laws. They want to impose them, and it's very strongly. And the example of this is the police already have, what do they call it, dual or two-tier policing on the subject. Let me first of all play you something from King's Cross Station, where you have Muslims talking about their religion and how they're treated and what happens to them if they're in a public place, playing a prayer, giving away Qurans. Well, let's see. Do they get arrested by the police? Do they get lambasted? Do they get told off? You can't do that here? I don't know. Shall we look?
Roll up, read all about it. Take your free Quran, the final speech from the Creator. Take your free copy, ladies and gentlemen, the verbatim word of the Creator. Take your free copy. You won't get this opportunity again. My brother, have you read the Quran?
I'm reading it now.
Oh, mashallah. Go and help us out, brother, whenever you want, yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, huh? Mukhtar al-Hajj.
Can you put that in?
M-U-K-H-A-T-A, yeah, Mukhtar al-Hajj. Roll up, read all about it. Take your free Quran, the final speech from the Creator. Take your free copy, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, there you see. That's King's Cross Station on a nice afternoon or morning, wherever it was. And they're giving out their literature, they're spreading the word of Islam, they're giving away free Qurans, and they don't seem intimidating to me, but they're not getting bothered for doing it, and they're trying to push their religion. I don't believe that you should do that in public places for any religion. You should go to the churches or to the mosques or temples of which you believe in, and don't try and impose your ways on people who are basically not interested. But now let's contrast what happens to a street preacher who is preaching about Jesus.
If you got time, watch this.
They don't love shutting down Christian.
Now, if I was a Muslim, it would be fine. If I was a Hindu, it would be fine. If I was a Buddhist, it would be fine. But because I am preaching about Jesus Christ, they tried to shut me down. People need to hear about the one true God. Now ask yourself, why is it only Jesus that they tried to shut down? Why is every other name allowed to be proclaimed but Jesus Christ? Why is there so much opposition to Jesus Christ? Because people don't want you to hear how you can be saved from sin. Because you have an enemy to your soul who is running around and he's trying to shut the preaching of the gospel down. But the word of God says that the words of God will never pass away. So that's why we're here still preaching, and we will not stop exercising our right to preach the word of God.
Now, if you saw the police's attitude, they took away his microphone, and basically it was like, he was intimidated because he was preaching about Christianity, about the Word of God. Two-tier policing. There's many examples of these things online. You can go and find it. It's not just what I've taken. I'm only going to show one of each one because there's so many now, and it's happening all the time. If you don't follow the particular teachings of Islam, for example, you can preach on the street. You can do what you want. If you do that, sorry, you're going to get harassed, told you can't do it. There's one lad outside Buckingham Palace one day. He's a street preacher, been doing it for years, and they take off he's got a thing. He walks around with his microphone preaching about the Bible. He does no harm, and he got arrested. I mean, there's many people who get arrested for preaching about Christianity or anything else. The people who preach Islam seem to be able to do whatever they want. And it also goes for flags. You carry a Union Jack or a St. George's flag, and it's basically seen as an insult. And if the police rip it off you and take it off you, so you're inciting violence, you're inciting crime or whatever. But if you walk down the street with a Palestinian flag, wearing the checkered neckerchief for Hezbollah and Hamas, that's okay. Where are you? Are you in Europe or are you in Palestine? These things matter. Your culture is being eroded. You're not allowed to express yourself. Your freedom of speech is going. Anyway, now the examples I find across social media, there's so many, as I said. What else is making it obvious that Muslim faith is treated better than others? Well, what about praying on the street? Should the law be applied equally to those who just pray? Well, let's see, shall we? I'm going to play for you another clip. And again, these clips, there's many of the same subject, just some people. So we're going to look at a person who's standing silently praying. Just one person silently praying.
Engaging in prayer, which is the offence.
It's silent prayer.
No, but you are still engaging in prayer. It is an offence.
I disagree.
Okay then. So you would rather that you be arrested and taken away than stand outside the exclusion zone? Is that what you're saying?
Are those the only two alternatives?
Yes.
I don't think I'm doing I'm not protesting.
Right, I'm sure. I don't know if you actually heard that, but I'd like to play that one again because to me, I didn't hear exactly what the policeman said, but I think I do know what the policeman said because I played it a few times. But just for your benefit, let's play it again. Again, saying that silent prayer, standing on your own, a Christian that's praying silently can be arrested.
Engaging in prayer, which is the offence.
It's silent prayer.
No, but you are still engaging in prayer. It is an offence.
I disagree.
Okay then. So you would rather that you be arrested and taken away than stand outside the exclusion zone? Is that what you're saying?
Are those the only two alternatives?
Yes.
I don't think I'm doing I'm not protesting.
Well, I've got to admit, it isn't the best of examples, but I want to do that because it's just one person. One person silently praying. She's not causing any bother to anybody. I don't know where she was. I know that there's restrictions on praying outside abortion clinics, things like that. But even that to me seems ridiculous when a person just standing. She's not intimidating anybody. But I don't know if we're now getting what they use, thought police in the UK. What next? You might be getting arrested for thinking about eating a pork sausage. George Orwell was right in his book 1984. He was just a bit previous. You now can be arrested for your thoughts. Not even for the speech, but for your thoughts. Private prayer, it's a thought. It's not being spoken out, is it? No. But on the other hand, if you're a Muslim and you want to pray on the streets, well, what's the reaction to that, would you think?
There's nothing wrong in praying, but isn't this praying should be done inside the mosque? Because when you do it in a public, it is definitely creating inconvenience for the public.
Right now, I only showed you a short clip there because there's loads and loads of them where you have these Muslims praying in the streets, stopping traffic, upsetting people, not just in London but in Europe and everywhere. But it's not. These people are not doing it because they want to pray. There's 3,000 mosques in England. They can go to any one of them and pray. Why do they have to pray in the street so visibly? And why do they have to pray in the road and disrupt people's from going about their business? This is a show of strength. It's well, nothing to see here. We're just showing you all that we are stronger than you. And we can do what we like, and you will conform to our ways very soon. That's what it's saying. Believe me or believe me not. And what else is going on? Forging its way through the UK, becoming the first European Muslim country. This is something that J.D. Vance said, and many other people have said too. And I've been told that all schools, and I don't know if it's all schools, have to learn about Islam. Why Islam? What about Judaism, Hinduism, Sikhism, Buddhists? Why Islam? Again, favouring one group of people or one religion over everything else. Now, they're even grooming our kids into the religion because it's on the syllabus in a lot of schools. To teach the children about Islam and how to pray as Muslims do. You don't believe me? Wow.
In British schools, children are now being introduced to Islamic prayers as part of their cultural education. Children, many of whom are raised in Christian families, are being guided through rituals like reciting Arabic phrases that are far outside their personal beliefs and traditions. This isn't just about learning about different cultures. It's about active participation in religious practices that many parents never expected their children to engage in. It's happening in the name of inclusion and diversity, but many are starting to wonder, where is the respect for Britain's Christian heritage? As Christian holidays like Easter are being sidelined, children as young as 4 are being introduced to practices they don't fully understand. This shift isn't confined to a few schools across the country. Christian children are being encouraged, sometimes even pressured, to bow, chant, and engage in religious practices foreign to their upbringing. The question is, where does this leave the future of British values? As this trend grows, it raises an important question. How do we balance cultural education while respecting the values of every family? Let me know your thoughts. Should schools respect the cultural values of all families? Share your opinion below.
Well, I think that's atrocious that they're doing that. In fact, I thought when I went to school many, many years ago, we had chalkboards. No, when I went to school, we were taught, as they call it then, the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. And we did geography. We didn't have to take part in any religious instructions, or RI as they called it back then, but you could if you wanted to. We didn't distinguish between any. We had an assembly in the morning, and it was a Christian assembly because it was a Christian country way back then. And even when I was a kid, we had people from other countries in my school. Willfield Junior High School, and we had I remember the first black family that moved in, but they were all Christians anyway. But they integrated very well. In fact, one of the girls, I will never forget, her name was Rosalind Kamara. He was a tough bird, I'll tell you that. But anyway, I don't want to digress because I think this is very serious. Why are teachers indoctrinating our children into Islam? It's a Christian country. And also, just to carry that one little step further, did you know that things like posters and information's being posted all over the NHS in England on how to become a Muslim for the staff? I think that's a bit ridiculous, don't you? Listen, you are what you are. If you decide you want to look into other religions, off you go, fill your boots, go and find out about what religion suits you best, or none, whatever. But it seems to me that this is being pushed and pushed. Now, again, every day the Muslims reject the law of the UK and of Europe, and they shout for Sharia law, proclaiming we don't answer to the UK law, we only answer to the law of Allah, which is Sharia law. And one day the world will adhere to Sharia. This is the new doctrine, and it's becoming very, very openly spoke about and promoted on most of the social medias. I mean, here is how brazen they are, and becoming so confident that they will take over the world. Now, we have to recap something here that I did in my last video. We know there exists 2 billion Muslims worldwide, and up to 25% of those hate the West, between 15 and 25%. And all it stands for, that's sort of like nearly 500 million ready to take us over. Now, I think most of them are in Europe, and you'll see why later. I don't say it's 500 million, I mean, but a lot of the people who have this way that they have to take over the world has to be Islamic, everybody must follow the Quran, okay? So consider that there is only 2.3 billion Christians, with a falling birth rate, in fact. And Muslims, they tend to have many more children than Christians. So if this is to go ahead and we are going to get taken, and it is going to be eventually, even by birth, but not by war, by having too many children, they'll take over by birth rather than by war. How do the Muslims now that you again go to the social media, you can find many of these imams and preachers saying the same thing very, very openly. Okay? So how are they going to treat us? What do you think they're going to do to us when us kappa, as they call us, when they take over the world? Well, let's have a listen to some.
When Muslims go and conquer the adjacent country, what do? We kill them all? No. The Prophet says, the first thing you do is call them to Islam. If they refuse, then tell them Allah obliged upon you to pay taxation. In return, when enemy comes and attack your country, you don't fight. We Muslims protect you. Subhanallah, for this little money? Yes. And you enjoy sitting in your homes and in your country and live your life normally. But the ruling is for Sharia. So you do not open nightclubs, you do not fornicate. If they refuse, then we have to fight. And if we fight you, then we capture you, you become our slaves, and we take your land, and you take because you refuse. I give you two good options in the coming 40, 50 years when the Muslims become strong as they're supposed to be.
I wish him a lot of luck in that, because I think, judging by what I'm seeing all over Europe now, people are tending to fight back, and it's not right. Because like I've always said, there's a lot of Muslims that left their countries of origin to come to the West to try and live a better life. But anyway, again, many clips like this one are all over the social media, as I said. But let's look further forward, and how would life be for a non-Muslim when they take over? Remember, all the propaganda you're seeing here is being spewed throughout the mosques in the UK and probably in Europe. So the young it's kind of empowering the young, impressionable Muslim kids. They're being told that they're going to rule the world and this is what's going to happen. So how will they treat us? How will they treat the people of the world once they capture? Shall we have a look at that, shall we? This is what they say how you treat kafar when Islam takes over.
Is there such a thing in Islam? Is there equality of faith? If we look to one hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, on the authority of Abu Huraira, Sahih Muslim, so no Sunni Muslim can really argue against Sahih Muslim or Sahih Bukhari. Rasulullah said, don't greet the Jews and the Christians before they greet you, and when you meet any of them on the roads, force them to go on the narrow side of it. And Imam Malik, he said the same thing as well. In fact, Umar ibn Khattab, who Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that if there was to be another Nabi after me, it would be Umar ibn Khattab in his own charter, not charter of United Nations, in his charter with the people of Sham, with those Christians of Sham, in his charter was Kafir and Muslim, they're not allowed to wear the same clothes as one another. If the Muslim, he comes out on the day of Eid and he sees Kafir with nice clothes, the Kafir has to take his clothes off and give it to the Muslims. The Kafir, when he walks inside the street, he has to wear a red belt around his neck, and he has to have his forehead shaved, and he has to wear two shoes which are different from one another. He's not allowed to walk on the pavement. He has to walk in the middle of the road, and he has to ride on a mule. And that's only for the adults, not for the children. And you can see how Islam would make the child become a Muslim. The kafir, or the child growing up in a state of kufr, he will turn to Islam. Why? Because the child will be walking along with his dad. He said, Dad, yeah, why you got your forehead shaved? I don't know whether these Muslims, they make me do it. Why you got to walk? Why can't you ride the animal? Like the Muslims, they ride the animal like this. Why are you walking with both legs dangling on the side of the donkey? Why is it every time the Muslim comes to you, he asks you for your clothes, you give it? Why is it every time he tells you to get down from the horse, you have to take it? And not only that, he said the kuffar, they can have their churches. They can have their churches, but they're not allowed to ring the bell. And if a Muslim, he's walking by, let's say, for example, a Muslim's been on Edgware Road, for example. He's had some nice shisha, some nice steak, no hubble bubble, we don't deal with anything like that. And he's walking along and he's rubbing his belly and he's like, oh man, I don't want to upset my wife tonight. What he can do, he can go to the church, knock on the door, John, let me in. Okay, no problem. John has to put up Abdul Ghafoor for the night. Abdul Ghafoor with his big belly, having his nice kebab, John has to open up the church and he has to go there and sleep there nice and comfortable and say, all right, John, thank you, and then carry on going early in the morning. Which wife is going to live with John under that type of circumstances? What kind of honoring is this for me to live with John and Abdul Ghafoor comes every Friday night and sleeps in our bed as well? Of course. Because sunnah is to look after the guest, innit? I can't make you sleep on my floor if you can't. You're a Muslim, by the way. So what about when Abdul Ghafoor goes to John's house? John, sleep on the floor, and I'll sleep on the bed. What's going to happen? Tracy's going to be on the floor thinking, my husband, he's got a forehead shaved, and this one, look at this one, Khatab, mashallah. Which one's more attractive? We're not gay, but I'm just saying. A man with his forehead shaved and one belt around his neck and two different colored shoes, or Amir Khattab. Amir Khattab, we're talking about here now, with that nice Chechen hat, big beard, a bit to the side, yeah? And he's got the badges there, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, yeah? And he's got a big gun, and he's got a big camouflage jacket on, nice boots, gloves as well. Even if he's got a couple of fingers missing, still looks attractive. Yeah? What's Tracy going to do? John's in for a problem. He just let him in for a kebab, he lost his own wife as well. So everyone's going to become Muslim. That is, my dear brothers, the Islamic State.
Well, it sounds pretty flippant, but he's sitting in a mosque and he's talking to people and he's empowering them. That's how we've got to treat them if and when we take over. They won't do it, I don't think. Hopefully they won't. I mean, I'm old, I probably wouldn't see it, but I do worry about it. For my family, for my nephews and nieces and, children that are not even born yet. This is going too much. So, people, where do we go from here? What are the choices? I mean, do you roll over and accept your fate? Because, believe me, they're working towards it. Or unite all non-Muslims and force the government to set up an appeal and do something to stop it. or even appeal to the 75% of good Muslims in this world. But would they give up their radicals? I don't think so, because they are more frightened of them than we are, because they know how brutal they are. They know how they would make you suffer if you stepped out of line if you're a Muslim. So I don't think we could really depend on them. I don't know who does, or maybe you do. If you think you know the answer, let me know. Contact me. The socials are all there. You can get in touch with me. And you can contact me anytime. Put wherever you're watching this, put a like or subscribe or whatever it is you have to do. But perhaps if you have a strong opinion or you have a handset, you can make a short clip on your phone, send it to me with your thoughts. Make it clean so I can show the world what you think. But what I want to do on this topic, on this subject, I want to leave the final word to a Guzman. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, this man knows exactly what we're up against. This man is part of the good Muslim, part of that 75% that in one way could be our saviors. I don't know. Listen to every word that he says, because every word that this chap says is the truth. So, final word on this topic today is going to go to a good Muslim.
Funny enough, the IRGC cannot operate in Saudi Arabia. Their supporters cannot have bank accounts in the UAE. The other extremist groups, like the Muslim Brotherhood, who are friends with the IRGC and Hezbollah people, they cannot operate in Bahrain, in Oman. These are Muslim countries. Where do they operate? In London, in France, in Washington, D.C., in Australia, in Canada, Toronto. They operate here. They have bank accounts. They register charity. Right. So Macron, the president of France, recently said the Islamic world is in a crisis. In my opinion, yeah, we do have problems. We do have Boko Haram, we have Al-Qaeda, we have Taliban. We have problems, but the broader picture, Islam is very successful, it's growing very fast. And we're doing really well. Dubai is not in a crisis. Abu Dhabi, the UAE, Bahrain, Oman, Kuwait, there's no crisis there. The Muslim countries are doing good there. Only some places there's a problem. I say, no, you are in a crisis. You went to the Muslim countries and you imported the garbage that the Muslim countries wanted to put in prison or isolate away from society. You went and you imported them. Why? For cheap labor. But these Islamist extremists, they don't want to work. They want free welfare. They want to marry French women, blonde hair, blue eyes. They don't have time to work. So look at Poland. They don't complain from Islamic extremism, not a single terrorist attack in Poland. The moment they sense there's a problem, they crack down on it. Polish policy, beautiful. The French, no, come. When they come, they use the resources. They go to Washington, D.C., and they sit in Congress. They support the Iranian regime. They go against the sanctions in Congress, right, with their hijab. Why? Because the ideology is filth to begin with. When you import that, or you allow it in, or you amplify it, or you glorify it in any way, you make your bed, sleep in it. So that is also a problem of the West. The question is, Tina, did the extremists become stronger or the West become weaker? I say it's both.
Very sensible man, don't you think? And he says it the way it is. Now, I think if I was to make them claims directly without having him there, I would probably get in trouble. But he's not lying. He's telling the truth. They live very well in the countries he mentioned. They have, well, yes, they have Sharia law, but it's sensible. They have moved with the times. And as he said, most of the people that we get are the people that they don't want. And like idiots, we import them. We bring them in and, yeah, come on, take us over. Why not? Because that's their MO. That's what they want to do. He said that they would put them in prison or isolate them from the real good society. I believe in that. Why are we taking them? Why are the West taking them? He said, are they becoming stronger? Or are we becoming weaker? I think he said it's a bit of both. I think he's being polite. Do you know what? I think that the West is getting to be lily-livered, going to be weak. So weak. They accept anything. Oh, we're nice people. We don't want people to hate us. Wrong. Where's the strength gone? Where's the fortitude gone that we had in fighting 2 world wars to stop the oppression, stop people from taking away our freedoms and our freedom of speech? Now we're giving it away. It's disgusting. And listen, I'm talking about the West. I'm talking about Europe. Europe's suffering greatly. It's costing billions and billions of pounds to keep these people whilst they infiltrate you and take you over. You're actually paying for your own demise. How about that? Wonderful, isn't it? Finally, before I go, I'll say a few other things I always do. America. While we're all sitting here worrying about what's happening in Europe, there's actually whole towns and even cities now that are being taken over by Muslims. I hope that Donald Trump does a good job, because if not, they will infiltrate the whole of America. It's a cancer that's spreading. It's not the Islam that 75% follow. It's not that Islam. It's another strand of Islam that does no good for anybody. It needs to be stopped. And it has to be now, because if not now, in 5 years, as little as that, I won't be able to sit and speak to you this way. Because if I did, someone would come and take me away. That's it for today on that subject. I hope I've made an impression. Good luck to the Irish people who are. I think the Irish people will come together and stop what's happening. They'll probably be one of the quickest countries to do it, because they don't want it. They're being taken over so at a rapid pace. And I hope they are. The British, well, if you don't do something now, you know that song, Take These Chains from my, and Set Me Free? You'll be singing that. What's more, you won't have a life. You know what they say? In a lot of those videos that I didn't put on, they're saying things like, convert or get hurt. Even now, they're taking over prisons in the UK now. Convert or get hurt. Prison officers being attacked. Your society is falling to pieces. It's time now to act. To force your government to act. And if they don't want to act, then they should be replaced by a government that will take care of everyone. Not just one group of people. 4% of the British population are basically beginning to rule the roost. That's me done for today. The old git. No hat today. It's too hot. Hopefully, I will see you very, very soon. And until the next time, be good, stay safe, and don't forget, watch the TV. That's before TV. Yeah, really good. All old stuff. Till the next time, stay safe. Bye.